So welcome to the second episode of the High Performance Hub.
Number 2. Let's go.
And today we are graced with the presence of Big T, Taylor Randolph.
Yes.
Mate, to give everyone watching, and even me, just give everyone like kind of an insight into your background and who you are and what you do.
Sure. Yeah. No, that's obviously, you can go super broad, or you can narrow that in. Let's see. My ancestry is. No, I'm just kidding. So, well, it's good to know. I mean, those are good things, obviously, to know. But I grew up in California, in Santa Barbara. I'm the baby of the family. I'm the fourth of my parents. They met at school at BYU, Brigham Young University. And so I had my upbringing in probably the nicest area in the world, right? You know, it's
no comment.
Yeah, I know it's unfortunate, but here's the thing about that: when you have something great and you don't appreciate, you don't understand it, it's just how it is. You wake up every day, it's 65, 75, 80 degrees, and you have that every day, and then you're like, oh, okay, this is how it is. Then I moved to Texas in my junior year of high school, and I was like, what is this? You know, you get out of the shower and you're like, did I get out of the shower? The humidity is insane.
Humidity is bad.
Yeah. So, but no, I think it was a good upbringing for me. I had a lot of friends that were just like, you know, their parents were very successful. So like all I saw was like, hey, you know what? Try to achieve, try to, you know, focus. We're always trying to climb the mountain, I think, in life. And I think I saw that from a lot of people. So it kind of gave me a lot of perspective and focus.
Along with the perspective and focus, did it put a lot of pressure on your shoulders, though?
So I just, same principle. I don't think I knew yet
that
what
was just
pressure
the way.
was. Yeah, exactly. It was just kind of how it is. Then you realize, oh, okay, to accomplish that, there's a lot of steps that need to, you know, be obtained. But I don't think I felt pressure. I felt a desire. Mm-hmm. You know, I saw. I'll tell you, to be honest with you. One of my best friends growing up was Cameron Douglas. His father was Michael Douglas, the actor. I don't know if you've seen some of his movies or whatever the case is, but very, very successful. His grandfather was Kirk Douglas, even arguably an even more successful actor. And so we would travel and see these lavish kind of lifestyles. Went to Spain to the World's Fair and Expo during the '92 Olympics. That kind of experiences like that. So I saw that at age 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, and it was like, wow, you can have a really fun, interesting life. But then there was also different aspects of what I saw and what they had. My family was very grounded in the gospel of Jesus Christ, right? And in just having family oriented. Whereas when you're out filming movies, doing all these other things across the world, businesses and things like that, he didn't have the same amount of family structure that I had. So I saw a little bit of diversity in that respect. So that was pretty cool about growing up and thinking in that area.
Amazing. So let's start to filter into kind of what you do now and that journey in kind of.
Yeah. So I mean. To be completely candid, I grew up in Santa Barbara. It was a time when there was I think some difficulty in the real estate market. My dad was in real estate, and we ended up moving to Texas, right? And that was actually a big transition for me because I was able to reset. Yeah. And I knew I had some things and some demons in my life that I needed to kind of kick out, and I wanted to have some better focus in drive, and it was really cool. At age of maybe 16, 17, I saw that. I was like, hey, there's more to life. I wanted to achieve, and so I chose my friends wisely at that time in my life, and it really kind of is the spark, I think, that helped transition to who I am even today. I would say so. In picking good friends, these people were studying on a Friday night versus going out and hanging out and doing all these other things. And so I saw that, and I really kind of made that my main focus, and then I made school my main focus, which it was. I remember one time I was sitting in Santa Barbara, and we were up in this place called the Riviera. You can see the whole city. It's a small city, but it's very beautiful, right? And I was up there, and we were all, 8 or 9 of us are hanging out, and one of us is, saying like, why isn't Chris here? And I was like, Why isn't he here? And they're like, well, because he has the final test. He has to take the final test. And I'm like, what final test are we talking about? And he's like, well, it's the math test. And I'm like, I'm in his math class. Just totally blew it, right? Just didn't even care. Like, well, I care, but I just
not enough.
didn't. Yeah, not enough. So, I mean, and when I moved to Texas, they even have one period of their classes is designed just to do math, just to do homework. And it's like, it's really like a junior college there. And so I saw that and I was like, hey, that's what I want. I saw where these people in Santa Barbara might, accomplish and, how far they're going to go. And in some respects that, a lot of these people were not really destined for greatness. And I saw these other, kids in Texas and I was like, wow, these guys really have a good head on their shoulders. And I saw their family focus and everything like that. And I was like, that's what I want. And so that spilled into my desire to serve a mission for a church, because you get to that age where you either go to college or you go on a mission. And I decided to serve a mission, and I served in Spokane, Washington. That was probably some of the best 2 years of your life at that age, because you look at what you can give up, college, everything else, but you can still get that, right? And we're not. I don't have a lot of family responsibilities. I wasn't married. I don't have kids, and so you go out and you can serve, and you just literally are serving other people for 2 years. And it's a great experience.
It's really rewarding.
It's really rewarding. Now, I wish I had gone, to Switzerland or foreign, Europe, somewhere like that, where you're from, right? That would have been awesome. But I was called to the state of Washington, Spokane, Washington. But I think where I benefited from that, looking back, is I got a lot of good leadership skills in my native language, right? I didn't have to learn a foreign language. And I was able to be myself, and like my charisma and who I was, and how I established, my growth was built in that, and it just continued to transcend.
I love that. And just going back to what you said about like choosing the right friends, I'm a massive, massive advocate and believer in you are a product of the 3 to 5 people you surround yourself with.
For sure.
And it is so true. Like, not shading on anyone back in England, but as soon as I came to Vegas and started surrounding myself with clients like yourself, Joe, and then my friends, it just drives you to be better, but always be yourself in the process. And then just going back to like when you were learning leadership, you were developing that whilst pursuing giving your own personality through everything.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's 2 key lessons that people miss out on a lot, is people they're afraid to be themselves. But the more you are yourself, I think the more successful you'll be.
For sure. Yeah, because you find out who you want to be and you thrive in your happy state. You obviously, you're a nutritionist, and you are what you eat, right? I've always said you are who your friends are. And I think it's that same kind of principle. If you choose wisely with your friends, you're going to be uplifted, hopefully, and growing with, together. There's that synergy, right? But if you choose people that are, and you want to naturally, I think you're a good guy too. You have that big heart, and we want to help people that are struggling, right? But you have to be careful. Obviously, there's a fine line on making them, your daily product, versus, choosing friends that are going to help build you up and grow.
Yeah, I think when you say the fine line, it's a fine line between helping people that want to be helped and helping people that don't want to help themselves. For sure. Yeah, that are enabling and the energy you put in isn't reciprocated, and it's not like they need to give you the same help. It's just like, for example, our relationship, the energy that I put into you with the guidance, the structure, the frameworks, and all this stuff, you pay that back by implementing that.
For sure.
And taking action.
And I love it. It's craving, right? It's like, you anytime I get a text from you, it's like instant happiness, right? Because it's positive. There's never a negative moment in your life, even if we're going through something, when you're instructing us, even if it's something that's difficult or hard, you have an uplifted, positive view on that. And it transcends. I'm like, okay, I can do this. There's things that I don't want to do,
Yeah.
The diet. My biggest struggle has been, eating healthy. Right? But I mean, every time I talk to you about it, it was always, it's like a maze that always found its way to a positive, uplifting, ending to that.
Because nutrition is everyone's biggest hurdle. Everyone. It's simplifying it in a way that you can understand and implement into your life, your family life, your work life. So then it's not this whole kind of confusion, cloud of confusion.
Yeah.
Like, what do I eat? When do I eat? It's just like, no, just do this. And it's just like, this is why, this is how. Let me know how you feel.
And I needed someone to tell me that. And it was, sometimes it was just simple stuff. You're like, hey, just put the vegetables in the microwave and press the button. And I was listening to you say that to me, and I'm like, wow, I really am bad. But it's the, like you said, it's the confusion, it's the unknown, it's that cloud of, you just want, to realize that, okay, hey, I can get through this, but I needed somebody to kind of just slow it down.
Well, simplify.
Yeah.
Simplify. And it's so much easier to action on simple tasks than it is. Because if I was describing you on like the distribution of the micronutrients, you'd be like, that means nothing.
Macros, yeah.
Yeah, like sweet. So we're going to eat this, and it's going to make like improve gut health. It's going to improve recovery. It's going to improve like mental clarity. It's going to improve productivity.
Yeah.
And you're like, sweet. Because then when I channel my kind of advice into your world and your terminology and your personality, boom.
Yeah.
You implement it, and then you start to see the impacts of the actions, and then that's where you'd be like, okay, let's keep consistent with this.
Yeah.
And then it kind of leads itself, but then it's always with your line of work, which we'll go into next, is with everyone's line of work, you'll never stop repeating yourself. You'll never stop saying the simple stuff, which is absolutely fine.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I feel sometimes like a parrot on people's check-ins every week, but it's what's needed to be said. And it's just the delivery of like kind of repurposing what you need to say in a different way, because not every angle that you take is going to get into that person's kind of mind and whatnot. So it's saying like, right, we need to eat more protein. Okay, so me just saying that didn't work.
Mm-mm.
So I'm going to go with the why and the effects it has.
Yeah.
And then marry the two together, and then you'll be like, oh my God.
No, it works.
Makes sense. Yeah.
No, it absolutely works. And from my perspective, like, yeah, sometimes you're like, you just tell me simple stuff, right? Like the programs you have really are simple, but it's like, you remember the Titans? Ever seen that? It's where you have the black coach and the white coach, and the white coach is in charge of the defense, and the black coach is in charge of the offense, and the white coach is like, hey, we need to start running more plays on offense. And then Denzel Washington says, a famous line. He says, it's my offense is like Novocaine. We keep hitting it and keep hitting it, and it's the same thing. Like it's very simple. Yep. Right, it's not complex, but it's just continue to do that. And I think that's what I've learned about life. You have, you get into, skill sets, and you follow patterns, and you get into, consistency, and that's when you really thrive.
Yeah. That's kind of what we'll go into, like with your career now, what you do now, because obviously it takes so much desire, passion, drive, consistency to get there.
Yeah.
But if you don't say, I will, because I've done some background, but being able to maintain what you've achieved over the last 15, 20 years.
Yeah.
We'll go into that.
Yeah,
so
it's good.
Tell everyone what.
So yeah. Right now I'm a tax attorney in Las Vegas, Nevada. And so I specialize in resolving tax problems with people. So that's my bread and butter. We utilize any people that have debt problems, things like that. People are struggling financially. We work to help them out. And it's a rewarding, that aspect, if I just tell you that, it's very rewarding to be able to know I can change lives, I can help people out that are struggling. And it's funny because, you work in the body, you work in the health. These financial things, I try to remind them, hey, look, it's just money, right? It's just, it's just financial stuff, but it's not, but it it absolutely affects their health. 100%. People come in here and they're just dark and they're just hungover and they're not happy. There's no energy in their lives because they're tackling this, just like we were talking about. Maybe they don't know, and so I try to explain to them, what can be done and how I can fix it. And it's fun to see that, like that life come back into them. And I tell this in this one, I just had this lady. She was, probably 1.5 million to the IRS, right? She makes pretty good money, but we can fix her up, we can help her out. But she just had a heart attack, and so like I felt really impressed to tell her, hey, look, we die basically mostly by stress, right? And you know this. I mean, the stress that creates our body, kills us. I reminded her, leave your burdens, leave your trials about this issue with me. Next time you think about it, leave it with me. Like, it's like Taylor's got it. When you walk out that door, shed that burden, because I want her to be able to live her life and be healthy and happy, and because we can fix this. We can't. We can fix our problems. And so that's what I do, and I love that. But I mean, how I got there. That's the fun. I think that's the fun. The proof is in the pudding. On how I. So obviously, I came home from my mission and went to BYU, Idaho, and I was very, very blessed. Just 2 months after my mission, I walk into this apartment. My roommate's got a crush on one of these girls. 6 girls live here, and there's a beautiful blonde girl. And you met her, Lisa. She's just laying on this this blow up couch watching a show or something like that, and we ended up having our first date that night. It was really a lot of fun experiences with that.
The rest is history.
Yeah, the rest is history. We 6 kids and a lot of a lot of fun. So. No, so I mean, it was. I was very blessed to be able to get my most important friend and best friend in this life early, which was really cool. It helped me to give perspective and focus and things like that. But I battled through school. It wasn't easy. I think you and I have very similar personalities, and in many respects. I think we have a lot of ADD issues, right?
Yeah.
We're going.
Yeah.
I couldn't read very well. I know it sounds difficult to understand. But I wasn't the best reader. I didn't like to read. Math wasn't something I really wanted to enjoy. But I learned that if I put the effort into it, like I can learn anything. And I can grow and progress in anything. And I learned that in college at a very early time. And I think it's because I just came off a successful mission, and I had I had all the confidence in the world, and I implemented that. And it's like that's how life is. We take skill sets and we implement whatever burden, whatever trial, whatever thing we're facing. You can get through it. And that's like when we have our conversations. Like I feel that from you. Like I get that confidence. I get like, hey, Tom knows I can do it. I can do it. And I think that's. You can put that to any aspect of life.
Yeah, I love that, and it's this very, like you say, very similar personalities. Like I struggle with the reading, like you've seen on check-ins. Like I have to read the same line 4 times, and I'm like, oh my god.
Because you're not processing it too. You're saying it, but it's not processing.
I'm just
that's
reading,
me.
but it doesn't go in. Yeah, so
law school exam questions. I would read them 8 or 9 times, and my buddies would be like, "Oh, here's the answer." And I'd be like, "I feel like I wasn't even reading; I was there in a different body."
Yeah. now, like when I'm reading, I have to get a highlighter.
Yeah.
So I read a chapter, then read it again and highlight all the key points.
There you go.
So then it goes in. It takes double the amount of time.
Yeah.
But as long as I'm learning, I'm happy.
Right.
But just going back to what you said about kind of working hard, implementing the skill, and just developing it. There's that famous quote like hard work beats talent every single day.
Hard
work beats talent.
Talent. Oh yeah, for sure.
But I think you kind of skipped over a few kind of accolades and awards.
Oh yeah, I've
got a few. So excuse me for reading off this, but the first one was Taylor is very well recognised as an industry leader.
Okay.
I've done my background.
Yeah.
You were one of the top-rated attorneys recognised by peers, the Super Lawyers Rising Stars from 2010 to 2016.
Yeah.
I'm not done.
No, yeah. There's a few story there. Yeah.
Best of Las Vegas Gold winner 2021, Best Real Estate Lawyers in Las Vegas 2021, and then you were awarded the distinguished kind of rating by Martindale Hubble, if that's the right pronunciation, indicating high professional achievement.
Yeah.
So what I was going back to in the sense that you've literally stayed at the top of your game consistently, let's say from 2010. How?
The story is actually a few years before that. And I know you grew up in obviously in England, Manchester, right? Yeah. United States suffered a pretty significant real estate meltdown, if you will, like worse than maybe 100 years in 2008. I was a brand new attorney, okay, and that affected the whole economy. We went into a recession. We didn't see a recession in the United States, for many years. And to have this experience is like kind of like a shock to the system, And I was at a firm. I was at right when I came out of law school. I got lucky to find a really good firm, but they had about 50 attorneys. For Vegas, that's a lot. They had 50 attorneys, and they prided themselves on, and they've never had let an attorney go. And the economy shut down. And they came to me during this Christmas bonus time when I'm thinking all is well, and they said, "Hey, you got 6 months to find something." And they were like ashamed and embarrassed. And, they normally, I think they would have just said, hey, here's your final paycheck, here's a severance, whatever the case is, go find it. But they didn't want that. So I was very lucky. So I used that time, the first couple of days you cry, you wonder, oh, geez, what happened to me? What's wrong with me? And all the greatest fears you have in your life, you're like, wow, they're coming to fruition, right? But no, I didn't allow that to get to me. So I interviewed for maybe like a week, maybe a week and a half with other firms and things like that, and just seeing what else there is out there. They gave me 6 months while I was working there. So I was working and interviewing, going back and forth. And then my best friend in Arizona, out of law school, a gentleman by the name of Nathan Carr, he was doing what we did in law school, which was a low-income taxpayer clinic. And he was helping out people with tax problems. We did it in law school for free, but we learned the process. And he was like, Taylor, I've been doing this for the last 8 months, because he's only been out of school for 2 years at the time. And he was like, dude, this is what I'm killing it, and you do try it. And so here I am in this transition phase, and I have, at this point, we just, I think we're having our 4th kid, you have overhead expenses, and I'm like, geez,
so there's a lot of pressure.
Yeah, a lot of pressure. And so I ended up talking to my father-in-law. He had a dentist practice, but he only built out half the building. So I took the other half, and I was just like, I'm going to try it. And so I started just advertising on Craigslist, just bottom of the barrel, and just telling people I could fix their tax problems. Clients started calling. And I was like, oh, great. I remember getting the first check, and I was just like, wow, like somebody trusts me, to do something like this, right? And so I was doing this all by myself for maybe 6, 8 months. I luckily, I think of, God's blessings in life and things like that. My first employee that I picked up is my office manager today. Luckiest move of my life. She's the greatest. She's my office wife. And so she was from Bulgaria. She had a thick accent at the time. She speaks, very, very clear now, but, I was nervous. I was like, should I really do this? So between her and I, we've kind of grown this business from, taking, just payments from people and, out of a makeshift office building. I built out that whole office. I've sold that since. I built another office in the Northwest. And, it's been that, that growth that's happened year after year. And every year has gotten bigger and better in that respect. But it's changed, right? So, I mean, you talk about the accolades and things like that. It is the foundation that created me, I was humbled, right? I was humbled. Like to this day, like I feel like I'm one step away from, being out in the cold, right? And I don't think that's a bad thought to have. I think it creates a little bit of awareness and awakening, I think, in life.
I think sorry to interrupt. I think
No,
it's
you're
better
good.
to have that mindset rather than I've got it all. There's nothing else to achieve.
Sure, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's not a healthy. I think it's good. I'm a big believer that we're always trying to climb the mountain, right? I think there's some generations that just want to go to the mountain and go, hey, take me to the top. That's not the purpose of life. We're supposed to struggle. We're supposed to grow and be refined into what we are. And can accomplish. So
with that, what you just said about like we're meant to struggle because that's where all the lessons are.
Yeah.
And that's where growth happens.
Yeah.
I know it's, again, quite a vague question, but is there any kind of struggles that really stick out, over from growing the business to owning your own law firms now?
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing. And you're at this phase of your life where you have like endless energy, right? You're not even 30. Are you 30?
I prefer not to say, but yeah.
Young man. But my point is I remember being in that phase of my life, and I would put in 16-hour days, 18-hour days, like crazy. I can't do that today. I could, but I don't think I want to. But
I don't think I want to. You don't want to, and you don't.
No, but I did it. I did it
exactly.
Then. But that was the struggle. Like I think I'm a product of today because of my upbringing, hard work, and what I accomplished. Like you have to work really hard at something, and you have to like really see the need, I believe some people have it, and some people don't have it and they need to work to get it, and things like that. But I had endless drive, and I put that into, the trial was, the time and energy and stuff like that. But then I started to realize, right? I tell you about Nathan, the attorney that kind of put me into this line of business. I love him. He's like one of my best friends, and he's great to this day. It's just amazing. And but his practice and my practice have taken a little different turns. Mine, I have built with a team, and I've grown up to about 15 people that I've saw the benefit of, like, hey, I can leverage people to accomplish more, right? That's been one of, I think, the most successful things. Nathan, I love him to death, but I mean, he has like one assistant, maybe, two, doing stuff for him. And I'm like, bro, you could, bring people in and the work will come and follow. And, so it's just leveraging, I think, is a big thing. But I would say that, through the struggles, like I've learned, I think it's, just in life, we're trying to minimize our pain and minimize our struggles and things like that. And you just find ways to do that, and if you're trying to progress and grow and stuff like that, there's ways, obviously to accomplish that.
I love that. One thing that kind of links in with Daniel, who was on the first episode, he was the chief culture officer for Shopify.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, and he was going into how, like, to build a culture within a brand like Shopify, but that filters through into myself, into you, in the sense of eventually I will be having a team, but the culture that they come into is one of growth and passion, because you wouldn't have the team behind you if they didn't want to work with you, for you, and go into the practice or the office every single day and want to deliver and make themselves proud, but show you that they can do the work and they deserve to be there.
So true. I think if I look at myself, 15 years ago when I started getting employees, people helping me, versus now, I care more about their well-being, and I care more, and I care not just more like what can they do for me, but how is this livelihood increasing, and helping them. And I'll be candid, I'll be honest, and I'll rip out the Band-Aid and when I first got employees, I literally looked at them as, I'm not slaves, but I mean, like, just purely what work benefit can they provide to me?
Yeah.
And occasionally they'd have like a work thing, a life, thing come up, and I'm like, back then, hey, look, figure your life out on your own time, But now it's complete total opposite. Like I love the culture, and because I do see the benefit of, like, this isn't just work product for clients, which is obviously so important, but it's also we're a family, and we're all growing together and increasing together, and it's not just in the work product, but it's how is your life, how is your well-being, and I think that's so important.
So important.
Yeah, so important, because our mental health and well-being they're vital, right?
Yeah. I think this kind of statement came from Richard Branson, the guy that owns Virgin.
Virgin.
He was like, it's in one of the books that I read, it was the customer, it's not the customer's always right, like, it's the employees.
Yeah.
If you take care of your employees and your staff, your family, I guess, you will be successful.
Yeah.
If they're happy, they're going to deliver a better service to clients, to whoever. For sure. Which is going to bring more success for them, the company, the brand as a whole.
Yeah.
So I love that. Yeah.
No, that's a really great. There's a quote like that we kind of hang up on our wall. It's similar to that effect, but it really is, like, how you treat your employees is how they're going to treat your clientele.
100%.
And if you give them love and you give them happiness, and you try to help them grow their livelihoods, it's only a win. And I think that's where I've realized more in life that, it's not about, how much money you can make each year or whatever the case is, or how many clients. A lot of this is, how much good can we create in the world? How much better can we create, in enjoyment, and can we help lives?
Yeah.
My perspective on a lot of these things have shifted. And I know the awards you mentioned, they are awesome, but I mean, my award is, Christmas time. I love Christmas, and I love kids getting gifts at Christmas. And I counted out, I have 12 kids under my, in my firm, right? With my 6, but there's other 12, so there's 18, I guess. and I know there's some spouses that are also working and stuff like that, but I find a lot of enjoyment knowing that I was able to bring 18 Christmases to kids this year by employing people and keeping them happy and enjoy. Like that to me is like a reward.
Yeah.
Like, it's like, wow. Like it's like, and sometimes it's scary. I'm like, oh geez, I have to make payroll and I do all these other things and make sure people can give their livelihood. But I look at that, I'm like, man, that was cool. Like, there's a lot of cool Christmases that happen. Kids got enjoyment, and it's like, from my law firm that, I was able to, provide. It's just kind of a cool thought, to have, and I find that enjoyment. Yeah,
You're like the modern day, as we say in England, Father Christmas. I like it.
Yeah.
Well, make that 19, and I'm expecting a present next year.
For sure, dude. You've earned it, brother. Give me a 6-pack, and I'm there.
But going back, kind of circling back again, there was struggle.
So much.
How did you get past kind of not struggle in general, but when you were faced with a challenge or like a client not being happy with what the struggle that you faced, how did you then kind of tackle it and move forward? Because with struggles, we have to face it head on.
Yeah. Well, no, there's two ways to handle struggles, right? Head on facing it and challenging and increasing yourself and battling through it, or you can quit, right? And you don't think that. I don't think that. I'd never thought that. I never allowed that to be my thought. My biggest struggle right now, to be honest with you, Tom, is I have kids that are having to live their own lives. They're becoming adults. I have a 20-year-old and a 22-year-old, amongst all the other ones. But they're easier at home because at the end of the day, like they can't get out of whack. They can't get out of whack, or whatever the case is. You can kind of like, okay, at the end of the day, like go to bed. It's like you can control. When they're on their own, they're making their own life decisions, right? And they have their own school and they have their own. And I challenged whenever I had a tough class, I just fought right through it, right? And I have a son now that like he doesn't care about grades. He doesn't care about the accolades and stuff like that. It's so tough for me as a dad, with all the success that I've tried to accomplish, and I realize I have a son that just is totally.
I can understand that because I've known a few people and got a few friends where kind of they've had great success, and then the people that are now born into their life are walking into this. Yeah. Like, I wouldn't even call your house a house. Mate, I got lost. But it's just like walking into that. Like, if I grew up in that, mate, dude, it would just be like, I don't want to be at school, I just want to be at home.
Yeah, exactly.
Because it's like a lot more fun. Yeah. But then it would be like, right, sweet, what do they like? And then just be like, right, okay, if you get your grades in this, then I can't imagine how tough it is, and I've got all that to look forward to.
No, but you have to teach them that. And Lisa, honestly, she tells you the happiest that we ever were is when we were like struggling in college. We didn't have any money to pay for anything else, and it truly was her happiest time. I love my life now, I generally do, but I have to remind my kids, this wasn't just handed to us, right? My parents, while they've had their ups and downs and stuff like that, I've received zero financial help from my parents, it is what it is, Yeah. But I have to remind my kids, like, it is the hard work ethics. It is, so when as a parent, when I see them like struggling, like I have to just like, step back a little bit. It's tough because I want to fix. Yeah. I'm a fixer, and I'm like, I've actually had the thought. My son Braden at college, and he's awesome. He served his mission in Guatemala. He's fluent, and he's just a total rock star. But I've thought, I was like, why don't I just get one of my assistants, to just watch his grades and make. But that's
no, absolutely.
I had to cut that thought. That's not healthy. I'm like, dude, he has to fail. Like he has to, and he did this last semester. He got a 2.0 GPA, and in college is not even good completely. But it woke him up, and he has not missed one assignment this semester. And I've had a lot of talks with him, a lot of like positive, motivational kind of situations. But I mean, he hasn't missed one assignment, which I'm like, okay, he's the kind of person that had to fail. I never accepted that. I never accepted defeat. I saw a challenge, to answer your question, I saw a challenge and I'd run right through it. And I did whatever it took, to do that, and I remember in undergraduate, I had two jobs. I was a server at 2 different places, Chili's and Outback, and I just had it wasn't, and I was meanwhile I was doing 15, 18 credits. It was just how I had to do it, right? And I realized, I have to have money to provide for, I have a kid on the now. We had our kid when I was 22, and she's 22, so there you go. But I mean, like that's how it had to be. I had but I'm seeing this on the other perspective, and I was like, wow, I can't demand my force into my kids, my will. No. So you have to teach them. You have to teach them and give them that awareness that, hey, look, life is what you make out of it, and you have to take these skill sets that we've given you and apply them into your life. Yep. And you make your own bed.
Yeah. Well, just going back to kind of your son failing. In my first year of university, I just basically drank for the first year. Yeah. That was kind of, I went to Northumberland University in Newcastle purely because of the nightlife.
Okay, yeah.
And to get away from Manchester. But it was colder, but it was amazing. In your first year, you need 40% to get through to year 2, year 3. Okay. I got 41. Oh. And that was the wake-up call. Yeah. That was when I went into my second year, I was like, right, actually knuckle down. Because I didn't want to let myself down, but more importantly, my parents who helped me get to that point. And I was like, if I had turned around after their investment with their time, energy, money, everything, and was like, I failed the first year, I wouldn't be sat here. No. I would not be sat here. No. But, so it's those key lessons where you're like, oh, I need to roll my sleeves up and actually do something with this. Yeah. Which is amazing. And like you say, those lessons kind of shape you. So next time you get to this brick wall where you feel like there's no way around it, the way I do it is just take a step back, take a deep breath, and just being like, right, well, that's not going to stop me. Yeah. And then you learn how to navigate any issues, and then when they come up again, you should be like, I've done that before. Yeah.
Do you think you needed that 41% barely making it wake up call?
I didn't want it. No, but I needed it. Yeah, for sure. And there's been, obviously growing my own business and stuff, there's been challenges and setbacks. I think, when was it? Over our wedding weekend, I think 8 people left. Okay. So that, and again, in the coaching industry, people come and go. Yeah. And people leave for different reasons. I wouldn't say that they graduate, but they leave with an unbelievable result. Yeah. And some people just don't really put their all into it, which is absolutely fine. It's not for everyone. And some of the reasons, family health and whatnot.
Yeah, sure. Motivation,
But
desire.
It was such a spectrum of emotion, if that's even the right way to describe it, in the sense that I was on such a high getting married with my friends travelling from England. Yeah. And then I checked my phone for the first time. Yeah, you're like, and the first 8 messages were like, I'm sorry. I'm out. I just literally, I was in the pool with a beer, and I was just like, I'm not in a bad place to deal with this. I was just like, right, just calm down. And it's those, and don't get me wrong, there's been challenges and setbacks and all that throughout building a business, like it would have been for you, growing your own firms and all that, but you need them. For sure. You need them. Yeah. 100%.
Wake up calls, but that also is where you get defined. That's where you find, what's in Tom, what's in Taylor, and what are we going to do in this moment of crisis or moment of need, and that's where you really do step up, and then it just elevates you for the other trial in your life, and you're always, a little bit better.
One thing that we mentioned on the last episode was when you're growing your own business, when you're growing your own firm, building a brand like Shopify, for example, you have to put in the hours. Like you were saying, you used to do 18-hour days, and there's some days where I'm not hitting those hours, but it's just consistent, 6-7 days a week. Yeah, yeah. And like you were saying, you need to climb the mountain. You can't just go straight to the top and get the view. No. And then it's when that happens with individuals like ourselves, and on whatever scale it is, the first thing that we neglect, and we talked about this on the last episode, is kind of the time and energy that you put into your health, your nutrition, your training. So then you get to a point of, right, I've reached success, but I'm down here with where I want to be personally, individually.
Yeah.
So then that's where kind of what my redirection with my coaching is. And it's not business coaching. No one needs business coaching from a fitness coach. But what it is allowing you to open your kind of mind and eyes into how everything is like, it synergizes together.
Interacts, yeah.
So that's what I am going to be doing now until the rest of my days, is like kind of elevating people in business with their fitness, and also understanding how to simplify kind of nutrition and what's good for that individual in their environment. Because then, like going with you and Lisa, the way you two work together, and what you said over the past kind of couple of weeks is like not improving your relationship, but it's you're seeing the benefits of.
True.
Do you know what I mean? It's you're seeing the benefits of doing something together, and even if it does help that you're both doing it, but you're just at one with, okay, this is I've got more energy. I'm feeling good about myself. We're training.
It's a connection. There's a connection there, and we're building on that together, and we're growing together. It's not just the time together when we're working out, because I mean, a lot of times she kind of has more time in the evening, and I'm checked out usually in the evening, but I'm a morning guy, right? And so I think that we can work together in that respects. But I mean, sometimes we're working out, but even if not, like just knowing that she's out there busting her butt. It's a cool feeling. It's like, wow, we're doing this together.
Yeah.
We're and there is. I mean, kind of to answer your overarching question just from now, there is joy in the journey, and we need to remember that. And so sometimes when we're working out, like or we're fighting, or we're battling, or we're overcoming some sort of obstacle, you just want to press fast forward. But I mean, that's where I try to pause and say, hey, this is where I can actually get a lot of enjoyment of. Let's get all those arms up all the way. Let's get that pushed out all the way. When we're and I think so much that the mind and the body are so interly connected. Yeah. Like it's just more than and I'm getting that knowledge more and more and more. So that when I'm healthier, it does help with my spirit, right? It does help out my work life. It does help out my mental health. They are so intertwined. When I'm eating healthy, and when I don't, I notice it now. I never noticed that. Talk about, I had it yesterday. I was like, oh, geez, I shouldn't have done that.
But that's one of the, again, what I was saying about the key lessons that you'll just have is once you've been consistent with kind of solid nutrition, good nutrition, and then you go back to kind of the old Taylor with the old habits and fast food, whatever it is, you understand how it actually responds to kind of digestion, gut health, energy, performance, recovery, fluctuations, all that stuff. So then when you eat bad food, you're like, oh, do you know what? I shouldn't have had that.
Yeah.
But you reflect and be like, right, okay, boom. And it's these lessons, like, don't get me wrong, like, sometimes I slip up and have too much chocolate, and she'll be like, you're an idiot. Get back to routine.
Yeah, ice cream.
Yeah, exactly. But one thing that I did with you especially, because we're very similar and we've got loads of energy, we're like a excitable like dog. We just want
For sure. Yeah.
It was channeling that energy. Because you were like, let's train, like, I'll train 5 days a week. And I was like, you're not going to be training 5 days a week.
Yeah.
You've got a business to run, a family of 6 kids, a wife, and a life.
Yeah.
That rhymed. But it was about channeling that energy into making sure that the workouts that we do and the training we do, the performance is through the roof. And then the other energy, like we say, is like putting into steps, a morning walk.
Yeah.
Listening to a podcast or speaking to a client walking around the office or whatever it is.
Make interception, yeah.
Those little habits will get you results quicker than training 5 days a week. That's
a great skill set you have. I mean, you can see somebody that, and you wants the world. I'm a guy that wants to immediately, like, that's why it's taking so long to focus on so much health. I just want to inject myself with something or go to surgery to fix this, take this away, and it's not that, right? It's the hard work that comes to it. But you took somebody that wanted that immediate, and you're like, hey, slow down. Stick to my program. Stick to my steps. Stick to the different things that we do. And like I said, it's not rocket science, right? But it's the consistency going through with it. And then when I check in with you, I get that reset of like, okay, here's what I'm doing. This is what my focus is, And no, I think that's great. I mean, you said something earlier. I wanted to kind of hit you on that a little bit. You said you're not here to life coach or to be business coach or anything like that. Like I've had really good interactions. We've had some good interactions. We've talked on the phone or whatnot. And you definitely. I mean, you're young, but I mean, you have great perspective in life. And it spills out into when we're talking about working out, other things, and I think those are good skill sets that you're going to be able to continue to give. That's why you're a likable, person. But when you say something, and you may just be saying something kind of briefly, it affects me, and I think about it 3 or 4 times. When I'm working out, I'm like, man, I told him to kill this guy. I'm like, oh, you know what he said actually was really good. It's like, so there's those good sets that definitely happen.
No, I appreciate that, but I think that goes like coaching on paper is easy in the sense that anyone can follow a program, anyone can eat 150 grams of protein, whatever it is. But the coaching itself is the art in knowing the person, the individual. So what I say to you, I won't say to Joe, or I won't say to Lisa.
Yeah.
Because the first thing I kind of build is a relationship of trust and kind of being vulnerable. Like, if someone turns around to me and is like, oh, I did this, I'll be like, actually, I did the same thing last week.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, so it's okay? I was like, of course it is.
Yeah.
Like, relax.
Yeah.
But it's understanding the individual to then give the correct tailored advice so then they can implement it.
Yeah.
Without having that basis of trust and that, honestly, friendship.
Yeah.
It's like half our conversations are full of banter.
For sure.
But at the end of it, there's always the core theme of, okay, this is where we're going, this is the direction, this is our trajectory.
Yeah.
But without knowing that, and without knowing you, it's impossible.
No, that's for sure. But when you say stuff, that's like, it's highly beneficial. And sometimes I don't know if you know how good it is, but I mean, like 2 weeks ago, Lisa was doing hot works for like 3 hours. And she's like, Tom, was that a good choice of time? I feel like I was just, going. And you didn't really, you answered her question without answering her question. You didn't necessarily focus on whether like, hey, 3 hours of working out is good for you. But I mean, you said, could use meal prep, could you use that time for a little bit of meal prep? And it just totally refocused her look at that, and it's like, she had just been thinking, oh, I gotta get my calories in, I gotta do that, and then she's like, oh yeah, like there's other aspects to nutrition and there's other aspects of working out and it's changed her mindset, going forward from that. So I think, those are great skill sets you have. So you're quick, you're witty, and it happens really well.
I appreciate that, but something that maybe I don't notice it, but what I kind of want to do when someone comes to me with like a suggestion or I've been doing this, what do you think? It's not a case of it's right or wrong. It's promoting that in a way that it's giving you kind of an option A or an option B. And option B isn't going to be as strenuous, as intense, as time consuming, and it's actually going to fast track results even more. So it's just understanding, again, like Lisa with her kind of her life is super busy with everything that she's got going on at home. And she's also got her health and fitness to work on. So her spending extra hours in hot works, I said, if you enjoy hot works, continue. But you don't need to be doing 3 hours a week. If you're doing 3 hours a week to create a bigger deficit and see the scales change, then we're doing it for the wrong reasons. Put that time and energy into prepping more meals. In that time to go on a walk by yourself without Taylor, without music, and just being at one with you. And it was like, it's just little things that I've learned along the way as well. It's like people.
That's the X factor. That's the X factor. What's putting you apart from just somebody that's saying, "Hey, here's my check the box each day. Make sure you do this. Call me later," or whatever the case is. Like that right there is what for me keeps me in the game. Like, okay, Tom's awesome because he can do. There's much more offered to that, and it's great. It really is. And for me, it's like, okay, this is the new life. It's a new normal for me.
Well, that's kind of like my DNA. My passion is to be the coach for people that I've always wanted to be for myself.
Oh, that's cool.
Like, be listened to. Understand and be vulnerable, but always look to progress. And I go back to kind of building those relationships. Without building them, I can't do what I want to do or what I'm able to do, which is my passion. But going back to kind of what you said about like creating a new normal, how many times have I said that to you and Lisa over the last?
So many. But it's good. But it really is happening. And it's like, it's really fun to like, I can like look in the mirror and I'm like, okay, yeah, like, because I've done a million workouts. I've done a million different stuff, hey, this, fasting or what is it? David Goggins. I did like the 75 hard or hard 75, whatever it is. It doesn't change. Like in the moment, like during those 3-4 weeks, 5 weeks, whatever it is, I'm doing good. I'm doing good. But what's good about this is this process, and we're only at 4 or 5 months into this. I mean, I can tell it's like, wow, like I might have some of these things, but look where I'm going. It's always going up. And it's like the consistency of what we've accomplished. And it's just in the check-ins. I've thought about this before. The check-ins are pretty simple, right? But it's those questions that change. My answers change every time to those questions, right? And it helps me to see where I'm at and kind of check in with myself at the same time as checking in with you. And that's where the growth is, And I'm like, okay, yeah, I see this, and it's spilling into my self-help of oh, I want to listen to this podcast, or I want to read this book. It's like the whole thing is growing in a positive direction.
No, I love that, and it's people think kind of check-ins is for me. It's not. It's all for you guys.
Okay.
And what I do is kind of, and what you guys probably don't notice is you're having that moment of self-reflection, which is very, very important.
Yeah.
And also, all the questions are kind of, they're strategically put in there because they all link in with each other without you, again, knowing. So, for example, if you didn't recover enough and then I'd go down, your nutrition wasn't great, sleep's not in a good spot, so then I can come back to you, and yes, it will be kind of basic information, but it all comes from the root of each question.
Yeah.
And then like kind of linking all that in together and then giving you action points. You should be like, right, sweet, your bedtime routine, we need to fix it.
Yeah.
And then as soon as we put it into
action.
How
bad was my bedtime routine?
It wasn't great.
No.
But as soon as we started putting little plans in place and baby steps to improve sleep quality and sleep length, and taking away like the naps in the day, because you were like, mate, I need a nap. I was like, just stand up and go for a walk. Just do something.
Yeah.
Make yourself busy. Your sleep improved.
Yeah.
And then when you woke up and you had more energy throughout the day. So that's what the check-ins are for.
Yeah.
And the people that don't check in aren't getting that advice.
Self-reflection.
As much as like they should be.
Yeah.
And that's what I said. I said it to Charles. I was like, mate, the check-ins are for you, bro.
Yeah.
I was like,
yeah.
Get it in.
Yeah. It's not for me.
No, yeah, exactly.
We know it's not for you because you can't read them. So.
Yeah, exactly.
No, that's cool, dude. That really is good. So because so much in life, we're just always going. And we never stop to reflect, never stop to ponder and stuff like that, So no, that's really good. So yeah, I love Charles. Yeah, so I'll get on.
And we do need to sort out a round of golf.
Yeah, we do. We do need to get that.
I need to get some practice in though. Jeez.
Yeah.
But mate, I want to kind of leave this episode in a spot where if you could give someone advice. For example, I asked this question to Daniel on the last episode. And I was like, what were the two biggest kind of lessons or things that you would take away from your kind of career journey, life? And he said honesty and passion, which is what we've kind of been speaking about again. So it shows that is kind of ever present in anyone that's been through hardship and they've built something. But would you add anything to that?
So love and passion, is that what it is?
Honesty and passion.
Honesty and passion. Those are great. Yeah, I think he's probably and many of us need to do that, is be more honest with ourselves, and that's I think one of the greatest things I've learned from working with you is, I can go out and sneak that chocolate, whatever the case is, but I'm the one being affected by that, right? And so I think that honest with ourselves is really important. Man, for me, my biggest things in life are family. It's just everything. Just making everything that all decisions we make focusing on family. In that respect, I live for it. It is my true passion. Seeing my kids stumble, grow, and learn, and they're just fun, and they're just fun to be with. So, yeah, I think those are probably those are obviously great things to build on. Yeah, that's fun.
No, I love that. Well, mate, that was Unbelievable. Thank you very much.
You're awesome, dude. You have so much talent, dude. I expect great things from you, my friend.
Oh, no pressure.
You won't have to. That's the thing, is just be yourself. That's what's happening.
That's it. No,
that's my advice to you. Just be
With
yourself.
you by my side, mate. We'll take over the world.
You are going to. You are going to.
Thank you very
All
much.
right.